Taking to the summit. Before I had fully caught my breath, a triumphant roar exploded from my heart, forced its way through my vocal cords, and thundered across the summit. Although a weak, exhausted body, I found strength in overcoming every obstacle that confronted me along the way. I conquered what at first seemed to be the impossible. I found myself standing upon the mountaintop. You see, climbing mountains isn't easy, and that's why we do it. Dr. King knew this too. The night before his death, he said, "God's allowed me to go up to the mountain, and I've looked over, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land." When asked, where do we go from here? I say the mountaintops. But that begs yet another question. How do we get there? If you've ever attempted to ascend any summit, you may know there are 2 steps to the challenge. First is the preparation, then the challenge of climbing the massive thing. Through my college journey and volunteering across the country, I've noticed a reoccurring model that may answer this question: how do we get there? I believe we ought to strategize upon community investment towards economics, education, and ideology. These pillars were presented to me as I sat in class my sophomore year. The professor explained how countless marginalized communities were systematically oppressed using this exact framework, which has specifically led to a 400 plus year cycle of subjugation of Black people in the United States. However, if these pillars can be used to negatively affect our community, then I suspect we may be able to repurpose them to uplift our community. I have taken it upon myself to begin this work, or begin climbing the mountain, using these once cancerous concepts as my most useful tools. I realized the best approach to the ideological aspect would be showing young Black people that we are capable of everything, have all different interests, and are worth the world. This can only be done through building relationships. To take these brilliant Black boys and girls and show them a figure who cares. Positive mentorship. A thing that costs only time and love, but a gift that's as meaningful and as priceless as anything in this world. In addressing education, I learned that it's critical to first educate myself, hence my time in college. My nationwide travels have also contributed to my growth. I've learned of the miraculous achievements Black people have made throughout history. With this information, I've put together a collection of stories, speeches, and poems that I've presented across the country. I share stories of the world's greatest cave explorer, a slave named Stephen Bishop. I convey the power of change through my conversations with the founder of the Me Too movement, Tarana Burke. I even profess countless experiences and stories of my life that hinge on the capabilities our community holds. To know the work we have done and are currently doing allows inspiration to fuel the next generation's journey further up the mountain. My drive to address the economic facet led me back to my hometown, Mount Clemens, a high school that's roughly 90% Black and has over 80% of students living under the poverty line. As COVID-19 wreaked havoc around the world and the Black Lives Matter movement marched internationally, I sat at home in fear of my mother's health, unsure of how I could possibly help. I thought to myself, a scholarship. I could invest in my community through young and upcoming adults. I reached out to every contact I had and was met with pure enthusiasm. 8 months later, 57 plus donors, and $3,500 later, I passed out 7 scholarships worth $500 to 7 first-generation college students. The most empowering moments of my life. This year, I've raised $6,000, which will be passed out in June. I've also influenced 2 friends to start up their own local scholarships. Passing resources on to our young adults allows for them to have the proper equipment to climb the mountain and go further than we had ever imagined. Attacking this mountain head on is more than possible. We are ascending at this exact moment. Dr. King told us of our fate. It's inevitable that we arrive to the summit. When asked where do we go, I say the mountaintops. When asked how do we get there, I say through community investment towards economics, education, and ideology. When asked why our time is so short and our odds so long, why the road must be so treacherous, why we must do the seemingly impossible, I say, climbing mountains is no easy feat. And that is why we do it. Thank you.